I'm Sharon Wilsie, and I wrote this book, Horse Speak, the Equine Human Translation Guide, with my friend Gretchen Vogel. It came out in 2016. This book is all about the body language of horses and how we can understand it and even begin to emulate it to have what I call conversations with horses. Now, when most people think about body language, they think of the big, broad strokes that are used for training horses. And that's not exactly what this is. This is really looking at the micro movements, the tiny little things that horses do, maybe the flash of an ear or the way that they breathe or how they move their tail or even a single step that they might take. So all of these parts of a horse's body carry meaning and intention. And when you start to understand what that is, you can understand horses better and you can begin to emulate some of those body behaviors to communicate back with them. Now, we're not horses, but if you can do a close enough approximation, the horse starts to say, hey, you look like you know something. So to help people out with this, I came out with a little movie last year that was called The Dinner Party. It's 4 horses having dinner over a pile of hay. Now, as these horses are having their dinner, they're moving and stepping in, stepping out, and communicating. And so I drew circles and arrows, and I demonstrated what your eye should follow to see how these horses are having a conversation over dinner, just like we do. A lot of people think, oh, they're just eating hay, nothing's happening. Well, when we're having dinner or lunch with somebody or a friend or family, we're definitely having a conversation, and so are they. So this was a neat way to show people, hey, look, this is happening, and if you can tune into it, you can understand it. Well, there was a woman named Margriet Markerink, and she wrote this book, Konik, the Wild Horses of the Netherlands, because she works with conservation and helps to protect the wild horses. And she takes people out there to watch them and have safari and learn about them. So when she saw my book, she thought, this is great. This really helps me explain what I'm doing. And then she saw the video and reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to collaborate? I'm going to send you some video of wild horses doing their thing, and you can do a horse speak presentation over that. I thought, what a great idea. So that's what we're bringing you today. I hope you enjoy it. Just for your information, the very first part is the horses doing their thing without any voiceover, or I haven't circled or drawn attention to any particular thing. It's just the horses doing their thing. The second part is that all broken down. And I do a voiceover and I draw the circles and arrows, and I want to draw your attention to the different parts of the horses' bodies as they communicate. Now, their language is very nuanced. There's a lot to it. So I don't expect you to pick up everything. And I didn't write about every single thing that's happening either, because it would be too long. So this is just the big broad strokes. But as you watch it and perhaps rewatch it, you're going to start to pick up on things, and that's great. That means you're starting to see horse speak. So feel free to reach out to me at wilsiewayhorsemanship.com. Look for the book at horsespeakthebook.com. And you can reach out to Margriet Markerink at her email, which will be listed below. And please enjoy this video, send it to all your friends, and look for the new training DVD that I'll be putting out this summer, 2018, which is about first conversations, how to begin breaking down that awareness of the horse body language so that you can incorporate it into your horses at home. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. As we begin, I've given some letters to these horses to try to keep track. A and B are in the middle, C is the mare, D is the little one. Right here we have C on the right-hand side next to A and B. She wants to cross in front of them. In order to do that, she needs to smack her lips towards the cheek of the stallion closest to her. When they aim their muzzles at a certain point or button, this is how they communicate. The two stallions in the center are sniffing noses, maintaining contact. This is called greeting ritual. To cross in front of them, because she's lower on the pecking order, she has to ask permission. She does this by asking the cheek to move on the lower ranking stallion. When he lifts his head, the higher ranking stallion lifts his head as well. Then stallion B also moves his foot. This gives mare C permission to move her feet as well. As we can see here, as soon as stallion B moves his foot, stallion A moves his head to the side to say he doesn't want conflict, and the mare C can begin to move forward. Horses use their feet to direct and guide each other. Through this whole episode, we're going to see that stallion A barely moves. This is important because the horse that moves the less is the highest in the pecking order and responsible for keeping everyone at zero. As mare C starts to walk across their path, she's no longer even looking at them. She's looking straight ahead. You can see when she stops here, she lines up her hip towards stallion A. This is also polite. She is telling him, you could move me forward if you wanted to. I call this the hip drive button. When he doesn't look at her, he's indicating, no, I don't need to move you. He's also keeping his face guarded between her and the younger stallion. When horses look around, they're giving space with their faces. You can see that by moving her face to the side, she welcomed the baby in close to her. She keeps her head low out of respect for the two stallions. Stallion B has dropped his head also. Stallion A is the only one with his head held high. That way he can keep an eye on everything going on. The baby aims his muzzle at his mother's go-away face. She then touches his go-away face button. The reason that they do this is because they want to have mutual respect for each other. Baby says, I'm here, can I be close? She says, yes, but I'm going to reprimand you a little bit for running off. Meanwhile, the two stallions are making contact through their muzzles. When horses use their muzzles to contact each other, they're checking in. Here you can see the mother and the baby have both moved their heads aside. This is called go-away face. It just means we're giving respect to each other's bubble of personal space. Mom also has her ears sideways, which means don't worry about it. Let's keep the pressure off and stay relaxed. When C scratches her girth button, this is an invitation for D, the baby, to come closer. Horses will indicate with each other using the girth button as a line-up spot. You can see that the baby brings his muzzle closer to her neck, saying, okay, I will line up. Then C drops her head. I call this an aw shucks. It simply means lowering the intensity. She is dropping all that pressure out of her system before moving on with her baby. You can see that the baby drops his head too to suck a little piece of mane. Meanwhile, A and B, the two stallions, are touching noses together. Again, they're checking in. The mare is higher in the pecking order than the baby, so when she crosses in front of him, she's allowed to bump into him with her shoulder, asking him to move backward. However, the stallions have been communicating this whole time about who's going to go where and who's going to do what. You could see that Stallion B has been offering to play with Stallion A. There he brings his muzzle towards the play button. That's the side of the mouth. The mother, mare C, has brought her hip in close to her baby's muzzle. By doing this, she's telling him where he should stay and what he should stay focused on. Stallion A, meanwhile, has barely even moved. He's raised his chest a little bit and he's flopped his ears to the side, saying, I'm in control, I'm in charge, but I want everything to stay relaxed. Here you could see that the baby and the younger stallion B would both like to be playful. Both the mare and the stallion have their ears flopped to the side. When both the baby and the younger stallion curl their lips playfully, you're going to see Stallion A take control with one simple gesture. It's very easy for him to do this because he is the horse at zero. The Horse at 0 is the calmest horse. Leaders are the calmest ones. All he needs to do is move his face to the side once to declare, that's it, that's enough. The stallion B has to move over because he's lower in the pecking order. When the baby sees this, he drops his head a little and sucks back, saying, oh geez. Mom turns her head to the side to witness what's going on and also show respect by moving her head any time she thinks she might need to. Stallion B hasn't really bought it, and he's brought his muzzle back over to continue to try to play with Stallion A. You can see now the baby's ears are perky, but he has sucked his chest backward. Meanwhile, Stallion A has lifted his chest to say, I really mean it, I'm in charge. Horse C has moved her ears sideways and scratched her other girth to say, you know, I think you should line up with me, baby. We're going to get going. Stallion A lifted his head higher, pressed his muzzle downward on Stallion B to say, hold on. This is a way for one horse to tell another horse, hold still. They can do this by pressing onto each other directly or even in the air from quite a distance. You can see him holding the other horse down, saying, this is not a good time to play. The baby looks away. He's doing a go away face. This is a sign of respect, moving his face out of the bubble of personal space of Stallion A. The mother has put her ears backwards. This is a way of saying, pay attention to me, and she's preparing to think about doing something else. You can see that Stallion A is holding perfectly still. The baby turns his head the other way, 2 go-away faces to say, I really want to get out of this bubble. And he's also looking at his mother's hip button, saying, I'd like to follow you now. You can see her looking back with her eye, flattening her ears to the side, saying, relax, it's okay, we're going to go. Here the baby says, okay, I'm ready to go, by dropping his head, releasing the intensity. The moment he does this, Stallion A makes a defined step forward. That one step carries a lot of power. Here you can see Mom looking to the side, getting ready to leave, baby dropping his head. In a moment, you're going to see the baby and the lead stallion step in perfect timing. And here it is. Both legs moving exactly at the same time. I call this matching steps. The baby's muzzle is lower. The stallion's go-away face button and shoulder are higher. He is saying, you cannot step forward. You must bounce off my bubble and follow your mother. And he does. As the baby gets ready to turn around, you can see here how the bubble of personal space has completely changed between the baby and Stallion A. Stallion A is holding his head as high as he can, aiming his shoulder button towards the baby's shoulder button. And by looking off into the horizon, it's called scan the horizon. It means I'm paying attention for danger. As the baby reconnects with his mother, she drops her head, he drops his head. They also drop the height of their rump and their tail. This is to signify that they know they're lower in the pecking order. He has lifted, Stallion A has lifted all of his body parts higher, meanwhile has not even taken another step with that front foot. All he needs to do is hold his position to maintain integrity and calm in the herd, to allow that mom to move off with her baby. As she lowers her head, changes her gaze, and connects the baby to her mid-neck button, she is preparing to leave. Meanwhile, look at how steady Stallion A is holding his body language. To be steady and calm is to be a leader in horses. As she moves off with the baby, he drops his eye exactly to the girth button. This is where babies follow their mothers, and you can see the baby and the mother are in perfect step, perfect timing. This is why the girth area is so important on a horse. It really means line up with me, let's go. As they move off, you're going to notice that Stallion A holds still for quite a long time. He is teaching Stallion B something about being a leader. Stallion B was interested in playing and raising some antics. The mare off to the far right has turned to look at the two stallions. Now that the other mare has moved off, she has to arc her body around in a half circle to look and see and check in. Even when horses are at great distance, they're still paying attention to each other. When Stallion A continues to look off into the distance, he is always saying to all the horses in the area, I am the best watcher. Here you can see that Stallion B had turned around, and Stallion A is still maintaining his gaze, making a stud pile to claim that area as well. This encourages Stallion B to go ahead and turn around, as you'll see in a moment. As Stallion B turns around, he also drops his head into an aw shucks. That's what I call it when they lower the intensity. It's like saying, aw shucks, I guess I'll relax. Stallion A still maintains his gaze off into the distance. This is why the lead horses can be trusted. They are trustworthy. They are steady and calm, and they know how to make good decisions. As Stallion A turns around, he's going to press his nose into the hip drive button of Stallion B. This encourages Stallion B to go ahead and take a few steps aside. He doesn't need to chase him or bite him or drive him. All he needs to do is suggest. Stallion B maintains a low head, lowering the intensity. Just because he's eating grass doesn't mean he's not having a conversation. As we all know, we have conversations over dinner, so why wouldn't horses? Every move they make is a conversation. Here you can see that just by pressing the hip drive button, Stallion B moved off a few feet. What's important to note is that Stallion A did not need to drive or push Stallion B hard to ask him to go. It was a simple request. It's only after Stallion B takes a few more steps forward that Stallion A feels he has enough space between them in the bubble of personal space for him to drop his head. This has been a Horse Speak presentation looking at the Konik, the wild horses of the Netherlands. I hope you've enjoyed this. And think about how calm Stallion A was during this whole thing. He never left zero. See if you can find your zero for your horses.